What you didn't know about the new $5 note. The birth of a new banknote is a momentous occasion. I mean, Miley Cyrus was in nappies and Ariana Grande wasn't even born the last time this happened. And so it was with great fanfare that the Reserve Bank of Australia unveiled its fancy new $5 note, the product of a determined campaign by blind teenager Connor McLeod. But the note's tactile markings, which make it easily recognizable by the vision impaired, are not its only distinguishing feature. Here are 5 things you probably didn't know about the new banknote release, including what happens to all those old $5 bills. World first, security. If you are going to design a new banknote, you'd better make sure it's protected against counterfeiters. The new $5 note is bisected by a world-first clear top-to-bottom window that's designed to make it harder to copy. It has dynamic features including a bird flapping its wings and a text that changes color as the banknote is tilted. The new banknotes are the culmination of many years of research and trial and extensive consultation with subject matter experts in the cash-handling industry, as well as qualitative research involving focus groups. RBA Governor Glenn Stevens said, "The new $5 banknote has a range of security features that have not previously been used on an Australian banknote and that will help to keep our banknotes secure against counterfeiting into the future." More changes underway. The new $5 note is the first in a new series of banknotes, with each of the other denominations set to be upgraded in coming years. Each new denomination will incorporate the same security and tactile features as the $5 banknote, which has a raised bump on each of the note's long edges, and they will each feature a distinct species of Australian wattle and a native bird within a number of distinctive elements, the RBA said. The new $5 banknote bears the image of the prickly Moses wattle and the eastern spinebill. Key features such as color, size and people portrayed will be kept in order to ensure they are still recognizable. And, as previously reported by news.com.au, you can still fold your $5 note to make a crude image of a whale appearing to perform a sex act. Notes phased out. While the new $5 note went into circulation yesterday, it could take years before it becomes the prevailing standard. It all depends on how long it takes for the 165 million or so existing $5 notes to be phased out. In the meantime, they're still valid currency, as are the old paper notes your grandparents buried in the backyard. Michael Anderson, head of note issue at the RBA, said many Australians were unaware of this, especially the younger generations. It is still legal tender, but we do hear of some stories where, because people don't remember paper banknotes, especially kids who weren't born when we had paper banknotes, Mr. Anderson said, so they're confused, so they end up sending the people to the banks. It's not that they're not legal tender. It's just that people don't recognize them anymore. He said it was hard to predict how long it would take for the old $5 notes to be phased out of existence. This is something that's really a phenomenon for the public, he said. If they prefer the new banknotes, then it might be quicker. The last big issue of new banknotes was in 1992, when the RBA introduced the plastic notes that are commonplace today. Within a few short years, they replaced about 80% of notes in circulation. But you've got to remember that was a move from paper to polymer, so it might have been a bit quicker then. Mr. Anderson said, it could be a while until the polymer notes come back to us, because they're obviously more durable. We will issue only new notes as demand increases and also as unfit notes come back to us and are destroyed. Where currency goes to die. You may have been wondering, what happens to all those old banknotes anyway? The answer is the stuff of Mahajer wedding dreams. Old banknotes are shredded into confetti-like pieces, then passed through a machine that melts them and turns them into pellets, the RBA said in a statement. Those pellets can be recycled into building components, plumbing fittings, compost bins and other products. But before you get too excited at the prospect of raining shredded currency down on your nuptials, there are strict security protocols around the destruction of currency. One of the reasons for this is that the RBA operates a damaged note facility where members of the public can return notes that are badly damaged and receive cash compensation. We'll assess its value and honor the amount that we assess it to be, Mr. Anderson said. So if we're handing out confetti, there's a chance that they could present that to us. Marked for destruction banknotes are only destroyed once they meet the RBA definition of being unfit for use. There's a very technical definition for it, but it's things like the level of ink wear on the banknote, folded corners, holes from staples, or graffiti where people have written something on it. Mr. Anderson said, there's a variety of ways they can get damaged. They can just wear over time, from just normal wear and tear. And they also get some mechanical damage, holes, tearing. Banks send the worn-out notes to the RBA, where they're authenticated and assessed as unfit. Then the shredding begins. Thank you for watching movie. Tropical Storm Hermine takes aim at Florida, expected to turn into hurricane. Tropical Storm Hermine will likely strengthen into a hurricane by the time it makes landfall, according to a prediction by the National Hurricane Center. The storm, currently in the Gulf of Mexico, is projected to make landfall in Florida. The center of the storm is expected to be near the coast by Thursday night. Residents along the Gulf Coast, pounded by heavy rain on Wednesday in advance of the storm, should be prepared for flooding and storm surges, as Hermine could bring up to 10 inches of rain, or 20 inches in isolated areas, the Hurricane Center said. It is crucial that every Floridian has a plan in place to ensure their families, homes and businesses are fully prepared. Gov. Rick Scott said in declaring the state of emergency for 51 of the state's 67 counties. Hermine is moving north-northeast at 10 miles per hour, but is expected to gain speed through Thursday. Strong winds from the storm are expected to reach the Florida coast in the Panhandle region beginning Thursday night, the Hurricane Center said. It also warned of dangerous storm surge and flooding along the Gulf Coast that could be life-threatening from Mariposa to Indian Pass, which is located in central Florida, about 50 miles north of Tampa. Rising waters could reach up to 1 to 7 feet above ground in certain areas. Forecasts call for the storm to cross Florida before continuing northeast along the coasts of Georgia and the Carolinas. As of 7 p.m. ET Wednesday, the storm was about 330 miles south-southwest of Apalachicola and 300 miles southwest of Tampa, the National Hurricane Center said. Previously dubbed Tropical Depression 9. It strengthened into a tropical storm with 40 mph winds Wednesday afternoon. A hurricane warning was in effect for the area between Suwannee River westward to Mexico Beach, Florida. Hermine would become a hurricane if its sustained wind speeds top 74 miles per hour. If this happens, it would be the first hurricane to make landfall in Florida since Wilma in 2005. As of 11 p.m. ET, maximum sustained winds were near 60 miles per hour. Catfish in the front yards in places like Marco Island were already dealing with high water in the streets, with residents saying they caught catfish in their flooded front yards, CNN affiliate WZVN reported. Craziest thing I ever saw, Darren Palumbo told the station. We were driving home from school, and the road was flipping around and moving. We finally figured out there was a bunch of catfish flopping around the road. The town of Largo in Pinellas County experienced heavy flooding, with 6 families having to move out after water invaded their apartments, CNN affiliate WFTS reported. People in Spring Hill, in Pasco County, are still recovering from flooding a few months ago. WFTS reported. That flood made the road they depend on impassable, Misty Hill said. It's going to be 10 times worse, she said. Residents have been sharing images of high water running through neighborhoods. In one video, a man is seen paddle-boarding down a street. A photo from Holmes Beach showed a woman floating on an air mattress in her driveway. In Anna Maria Beach, cars were splashing as they drove through hubcap-high water in the street. Two Florida counties are taking no chances with its oceanside locales. Franklin County, just southeast of Panama City, issued a mandatory evacuation order for the coastal towns of St. George Island, Dog Island, Bald Point and Alligator Point, the county's emergency management office said. NFL preseason game changed. Crawfordville Elementary School will open as a shelter at 5 p.m., the county said. In Taylor County, farther east, evacuation orders were in place for Deckle Beach, Keaton Beach, Dark Island, Cedar Island, Steinhatchee, Spring Warrior, Econfina and Nuttall Rise. CNN affiliate WTXL reported. 10 offshore oil and gas platforms in the Gulf of Mexico were also evacuated in anticipation of the storm. Parts of Florida are already feeling Hermine's effects. In Pinellas County, the southwest county that is home to Clearwater and St. Petersburg, schools have already been closed for Thursday and a flood warning is in effect. Nearby Manatee County also closed schools. In nearby Tampa, the Buccaneers' final preseason NFL game against the Washington Redskins was moved from Thursday night to Wednesday in expectation of the storm. Thank you for waving movies. Kim Kardashian West doesn't hide her psoriasis. I've really learned to live with it. 14 sharing options. Subscribe now. Kim Kardashian West learned to accept her psoriasis. Kim Kardashian courtesy Kim Kardashian West by Julia Mazziata. At Juliet Maz, August 31, 2016 at 1:35 p.m. EDT. Kim Kardashian West isn't letting her psoriasis stop her from loving her body. The reality star says she's done with trying to hide the dry, itchy patches she gets from the chronic condition. I have that one patch on my right leg that is the most visible, Kardashian West, 35, says in a post on her app. I don't even really try to cover it that much anymore. Sometimes I just feel like it's my big flaw and everyone knows about it, so why cover it? After this many years, I've really learned to live with it. Kardashian West first found out that she has psoriasis after visiting a dermatologist on a 2011 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I got it for the first time at the Dash store opening in New York, she explains in her post. I wore this all-sequin dress and I started getting really itchy. I thought it was just a rash caused by the fabric, but then the rash was covering my legs and my mom was like, I think you have psoriasis. She has it too, and it's hereditary. So she spotted the symptoms immediately. Now Kardashian West knows how to control it, from avoiding acidic foods like tomatoes and eggplant to applying ointments. But she says it affects everyone differently. Sometimes the rashes are itchy, sometimes they're flaky, she says. Mine flares up from time to time for different reasons. Related video. The little thing that makes Kim Kardashian feel pretty. With 5 years of dealing with psoriasis under her belt, Kardashian West isn't bothered too much by it, but she would love a solution. Scientists are constantly researching and developing new medications to help treat it, but for now, I use a topical cortisone ointment every night before bed, she says. I'm always hoping for a cure, of course, but in the meantime, I'm learning to just accept it as part of who I am.